Have you ever found yourself giving so much in a relationship that you start to feel like you're disappearing? Or maybe you've been on the other side, feeling like your partner keeps pulling away, creating a wall of distance you don't know how to cross. The truth is, one of the most overlooked but vital elements of a healthy relationship is learning how to respect boundaries and space. Not just physical space, but emotional, mental, and personal space too. And if you've ever asked yourself, am I asking for too much? Or am I giving too little? Then this episode is exactly for you. Boundaries are not walls that keep love out. They're bridges that allow love to move freely, safely, and sustainably between two people. But because we often confuse closeness with control or freedom with rejection, we end up sabotaging the intimacy we crave. Today, we're going to explore how you can protect your individuality while still nurturing deep emotional intimacy with your partner. We'll uncover why boundaries and personal space are not signs of weakness or coldness, but instead, the very foundation of trust, attraction, and long-lasting love. So let's dive in. First, let's start with the misconception. Many people hear the word boundaries and immediately think of ultimatums or restrictions. They imagine lines drawn in the sand, rules that keep love rigid, or statements like, don't do this, don't talk to that person, don't spend time there. But boundaries, in their healthiest form, are not about control. They are about clarity. They are about you being honest with yourself and your partner about what feels safe, what feels respectful, and what allows you to show up in the relationship as your best self. Imagine being in a room with locked doors and no windows. At first, it might feel cozy and intimate, but soon you'd feel trapped. The air would become heavy, your need for fresh oxygen would grow unbearable, and suddenly that once safe room would feel suffocating. That's what a relationship without healthy boundaries feels like. Intense at the start, but over time, stifling. Boundaries open the windows. They allow air to circulate. They allow the connection to breathe. But here's the twist. Boundaries aren't just about keeping your partner out. They're also about letting yourself in. Think about how many times you've suppressed your feelings, avoided saying no, or sacrificed your personal needs in order to keep the peace. Every time you do that, you build silent resentment. You might think you're being kind, but in reality, you're creating emotional distance. Because intimacy, true intimacy, requires authenticity. And authenticity can't exist without boundaries. Let's get practical. What do boundaries look like in everyday life? They look like saying, I need some quiet time after work to recharge before I can be fully present with you. They look like, I'm okay with you sharing details of our life with friends, but I'd rather keep certain things between us. They look like, I love spending weekends together, but I also want to keep one day for my hobbies. Notice something here? These statements don't sound harsh. They sound honest. They sound like someone who knows themselves, respects themselves, and trusts their partner enough to share openly. But let's pause for a second, because here's where most relationships get stuck. What if your partner doesn't agree with your boundaries? What if they interpret your need for space as rejection? This is where emotional intimacy comes into play. When you set a boundary, it is not just a demand, it is an invitation to deeper understanding. The way you frame your boundary matters as much as the boundary itself. For example, saying, I don't want to talk right now can sound cold, but saying, I need 30 minutes to calm down so I don't say something I'll regret, because our connection matters to me, reframes the silence as an act of care not distance. It tells your partner, I'm stepping back, but not away. I'm taking space, but I'm still here with you. That distinction is the glue that keeps relationships strong. Let's take it deeper. Why do boundaries feel so hard for so many of us? Often, it's because of fear. Fear that if we set limits, our partner will leave. Fear that asking for space makes us too much or too needy. Fear that saying no will make us less lovable. These fears usually come from early experiences, family dynamics, childhood attachment patterns, past relationships that taught us love was conditional or unstable. If you were raised in an environment where your needs weren't respected, setting boundaries as an adult might feel selfish or even dangerous. But here's the liberating truth. Setting boundaries is the ultimate act of self-love. And self-love is what makes romantic love sustainable. Without it, we risk building relationships where one person slowly erases themselves for the other. And what's left after that? Two halves, neither whole. Now let's talk about the flip side, respecting your partner's boundaries. It's not enough to know your own limits. You have to be open to hearing and honoring theirs. And here's the kicker. Your partner's boundaries may look very different from yours. Maybe you crave constant communication, while they need regular moments of solitude. Maybe you love sharing everything, while they prefer to keep some thoughts private. The challenge and the beauty of intimacy lies in learning how to bridge these differences without forcing sameness. Think of it like a dance. In every healthy dance, there's rhythm, there's flow, there's give and take. If one partner steps too close without noticing, they step on toes. If one partner pulls away too suddenly, the connection is lost. But when both are attuned, when they respect the space between them, something magical happens. The dance becomes effortless, fluid, alive. That's what healthy boundaries feel like in love. So how do you cultivate this balance between personal space and emotional closeness? Let's break it down. Step 1. Know yourself. Before you can communicate your boundaries, you need to identify them. Ask yourself, what makes me feel respected? What drains me? What do I need to feel safe, to feel loved, to feel alive in this relationship? Write these things down. The clearer you are with yourself, the clearer you'll be with your partner. Step 2. Communicate with compassion. Don't wait until resentment boils over. Express your boundaries proactively, and do it in a way that emphasizes care. Use I statements rather than blame. Instead of, you always make me feel suffocated, try, I feel more balanced when I have time for myself during the week. Step 3. Honor your partner's voice. When they set a boundary, don't immediately jump into defense mode. Instead, practice curiosity. Ask, can you tell me more about why that's important to you? The more you listen, the more trust you build. Step 4. Revisit and renegotiate. Boundaries are not set in stone. As you and your relationship evolve, your needs will change. What mattered in year 1 may shift in year 5. Make boundary check-ins a regular part of your intimacy. Now, let me share a powerful paradox. The couples who allow each other the most freedom often feel the closest. Why? Because freedom fuels desire. When you know you can say no, your yes becomes more meaningful. When you know you're allowed to step back, you choose to step forward with authenticity. And nothing strengthens intimacy more than two people who are there not out of obligation, but out of genuine choice. Think about the couples who seem inseparable yet constantly fight. Compare them to the couples who maintain individuality, friendships, passions outside of the relationship, and yet come together with warmth and energy. The difference lies not in how much time they spend together, but in how respected they feel within that time. And here's something many of us don't realize. Space creates longing. Longing reignites attraction. When you miss your partner, when you feel their absence in a healthy way, your reunion becomes sweeter. The hug feels warmer, the kiss deeper, the connection renewed. Boundaries are not only about safety, they're about keeping passion alive. But let's not sugarcoat it. Setting and respecting boundaries is not always easy. There will be moments of tension. There will be moments where you question if you're being too rigid or too lenient. That's normal. Growth in love is not about perfection. It's about awareness. Every difficult conversation about space and closeness is a chance to deepen understanding. And every time you navigate it with honesty and care, your relationship becomes more resilient. So let's bring this full circle. Boundaries and space are not barriers to love. They are love in action. They are the guardrails that keep the relationship from veering off course, the breathing room that allows two individuals to thrive as a pair. Without them, intimacy collapses under the weight of unmet needs and silent resentment. With them, intimacy blossoms, nourished by trust, respect, and choice. If you've been struggling with this balance in your relationship, start small. Identify one boundary you need to set for yourself this week. Communicate it with love, and then practice listening when your partner does the same. Remember, intimacy is not about losing yourself in another person. It's about bringing your whole self to the relationship and allowing your partner to do the same. Because the truth is, the more you protect your individuality, the more space you create for authentic connection. And that's where the magic of love really lives. So, I want to leave you with this question. What boundary do you need to honor today to bring more love, not less, into your relationship? Think about it, write it down, and most importantly, act on it. Love is not about holding tighter, it's about holding wiser. And when you learn that balance, you discover that space doesn't weaken love, it strengthens it.